You think IQ tests measure intelligence. You think that number defines how smart you are, what you're capable of, what you deserve. Schools use it. Companies use it. Even you've probably Googled free IQ test at 2 a.m. to prove something to yourself. But what if I told you IQ tests are fake? Not flawed, fake. Designed over 100 years ago to justify racism, control immigration, and keep power in the hands of the rich. In the next 10 minutes, I'll destroy everything you believe about IQ and show you the disturbing truth about who profits from you believing you're not smart enough. Think about the last time someone called you not smart enough. Maybe a teacher, maybe a relative, maybe that voice in your own head when you failed an exam. You probably thought, maybe my IQ isn't high enough. But here's what they don't tell you. Albert Einstein never took an IQ test. Neither did Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, or Stephen Hawking. The number you've been told defines intelligence. It didn't even exist for 9% of human history. But here's the twist. In 1905, a French psychologist named Alfred Binet created the first test, not to measure intelligence, to identify kids who needed extra help in school. He specifically warned, this test does not measure intelligence. It measures current academic skills. But America took his test, twisted it, and used it to sterilize 65,000 people they labeled feeble-minded. That's not ancient history. That's your great-grandparents' generation. And the same test is still being used today. Let me show you something disturbing. You know those online IQ tests? BuzzFeed, Mensa, those brain training apps? A 2018 study tested 11 popular online IQ tests. You know how many were scientifically valid? 0. Not one. They're designed to give you a high score so you share it on social media, free advertising. But even the real IQ tests, the Stanford Binet, the WAAs, they're not measuring intelligence. Dr. Kroger. Robert Sternberg, former president of the American Psychological Association, spent 40 years studying intelligence. His conclusion: IQ tests measure one thing, how good you are at taking IQ tests. They test pattern recognition, vocabulary, and processing speed, all skills you can practice and improve. In fact, a Cambridge University study found that with just 20 hours of practice, people improved their IQ scores by an average of 21 points. If intelligence was fixed, that would be impossible. It's like saying you can study for a height test and grow 3 inches. Now, here's where it gets dark. IQ tests were designed to prove white superiority. I'm not exaggerating. During World War I, the U.S. Army gave IQ tests to 7 million soldiers. The results: black soldiers scored lower than white soldiers. Immigrants from Italy, Poland, and Russia scored lower than Americans. Psychologist Carl Brigham published a book using this data called A Study of American Intelligence. His conclusion: Nordic races are superior, and America should ban immigration from inferior countries. Congress literally used his research to pass the Immigration Act of 1924, blocking millions from entering the U.S. Brigham later admitted he was wrong, that the tests were biased, that environment mattered more than genetics. But by then, the damage was done. The same tests are still used today, just rebranded, polished, made to look scientific. But it gets worse. IQ tests don't predict success. You'd think if they measured intelligence, high IQ people would be more successful, right? Wrong. A 20-year longitudinal study at University of Pennsylvania tracked 12,000 students. They compared IQ scores to actual life outcomes, income, career success, happiness, relationships. The correlation: almost zero. Dr. Angela Duckworth, who led the study, found that grit, persistence, and passion predicted success 6 times better than IQ. She tested kids with average IQs who worked hard versus kids with high IQs who coasted. 10 years later, the average IQ kids were more successful in every metric: income, job satisfaction, even self-reported happiness. Meanwhile, Mensa, the high IQ society, did an internal survey. Members with IQs over 100 had higher rates of depression, divorce, and unemployment than the general population. High IQ didn't protect them. In some cases, it hurt them. Now for the most uncomfortable truth. The people selling you IQ tests don't believe in them. Silicon Valley doesn't use IQ tests for hiring. Google tried it for years. You know what they found. IQ scores had zero correlation with job performance. Laszlo Bock, former head of Google HR, publicly said, "We found that they don't predict anything." Apple doesn't test IQ. Neither does Netflix, Tesla, or Microsoft. But they'll sell you brain training apps, IQ test prep courses, cognitive enhancement programs. The education system uses IQ to sort kids into gifted programs and remedial classes, tracking that follows them for life. But the people designing those tests send their own kids to schools that don't use IQ testing at all. Montessori schools, Waldorf schools, elite private academies. They know the secret. IQ is a filter, not a measure. It keeps the system stable by convincing people they deserve their place in the hierarchy. So, why does this matter? Let me make this personal. Every time you doubt yourself, every time you think, "I'm just not smart enough," you're repeating programming installed by a 110-year-old racist pseudoscience. You didn't fail that math test because of low IQ. You failed because education is designed for one learning style. Sit still, memorize, regurgitate. If you learn differently, you're labeled slow. Your career isn't stuck because you're not intelligent. It's stuck because IQ testing convinced you there's a ceiling on your potential. You stopped trying. A Yale study found that students who were told they had low potential performed 40% worse on tasks they were perfectly capable of doing. It's called stereotype threat. The belief in limits creates the limits. Here's the bigger problem. This creates a society that wastes human potential. Thomas Edison was called too stupid to learn anything by his teachers. Richard Branson has dyslexia, struggled with traditional IQ tests, built a $5 billion empire. Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty, no gifted programs, became one of the most influential people on Earth. Imagine how many Edisons, Bransons, Oprahs we've lost because an IQ test at age 7 told them they weren't smart enough. India mein kidney log, IIT nahi clear-kar paate, and think their life is over. But some of the most successful tech founders, entrepreneurs, artists, they failed those exams. Because those tests measure test-taking skills, not innovation, not creativity, not intelligence. But here's what they don't tell you. Intelligence is plural, not singular. Howard Gardner at Harvard proposed the theory of multiple intelligences. There's linguistic intelligence, logical intelligence, spatial intelligence, musical intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence. IQ tests measure two, linguistic and logical. That's it. If you're a brilliant musician, an incredible athlete, someone who reads people like a book, IQ tests call you average. Meanwhile, someone who's great at pattern puzzles but socially clueless, emotionally stunted, creatively empty, gets called a genius. The system is rigged. And the people who designed it, they benefit from you not knowing there are other ways to be smart. Here's how you take control back. First, stop taking IQ tests. Seriously, delete the apps, ignore the online quizzes. Every time you take one, you're reinforcing the belief that intelligence is a fixed number. It's not. Dr. So. Carol Dweck at Stanford spent 30 years researching growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed. She found that students who believed intelligence was fixed gave up faster, performed worse, avoided challenges. Students who believed intelligence was flexible tried harder, learned more, achieved more. One simple belief shift changed everything. Stop asking, "Am I smart enough?" Start asking, "How can I get better at this?" Second, identify your actual intelligence type. Take 1 week. Try different activities. Music, writing, sports, coding. Drawing, debating. Notice what feels natural, what energizes you instead of draining you. That's your intelligence zone. A study at University of Michigan found that people working in their natural intelligence zone were 87% more productive than people working in zones that matched their IQ score but didn't match their natural ability. You're not bad at everything. You're just being measured by the wrong ruler. Find your ruler. Third, practice productive struggle. This sounds backwards, but neuroscience proves it. When you struggle with something difficult, your brain literally grows new connections. Dr. Clady, Marion Diamond at UC Berkeley found that rats in challenging environments grew 25% more neural connections than rats in easy environments. Struggle isn't proof you're not smart. It's the process of becoming smarter. But IQ tests taught you, struggle means you've hit your limit. Wrong. Struggle means you're at the edge of your current ability, exactly where growth happens. Bodybuilders don't avoid heavy weights. They seek them out. Your brain works the same way. Real example. A girl named Priya scored 92 on an IQ test in 8th grade. School counselor told her parents she's not college material. Her parents believed it. She believed it. She dropped advanced classes, stopped trying. At 19, working at a call center, she randomly took a graphic design course. She was incredible. Natural talent. Within 2 years, she was freelancing for international clients. Within 5 years, she owned a design agency with 15 employees. Her IQ didn't change. Her belief did. She found her intelligence zone and stopped letting a test from age 13 define her future. But here's the final twist. This entire video used logical reasoning, pattern recognition, verbal skills, the exact things IQ tests measure. I structured arguments, cited studies, built a case. By their definition, this required high IQ. But here's the thing. I learned these skills. I wasn't born with them. I struggled, practiced, failed, improved. The same way you can. The trap isn't that IQ tests measure nothing, it's that they measure trainable skills and call them fixed intelligence. They take a snapshot and call it destiny. Here's your choice. You can close this video, feel momentarily liberated, and still secretly believe that number defines you. Or you can do something radical right now. Think of one thing you've avoided because you thought you weren't smart enough. Not something impossible, something real, learning a language, starting a business, applying for that job. Now commit to 30 days of productive struggle, not to prove you're smart, but to prove that growth is always possible. Intelligence isn't what you have, it's what you build, your move.